Morning to all of you. It is the SDH Network's Soccer Morning Show. It's the morning show on the SDH Network, however you want to take your sentence and flip it. It's the morning show here on the SDH Network. John here, you there. Kind of busy this morning on a bunch of different levels, and we're going through the lower divisions as they get closer to championships. We'll catch up with and folks that have already gotten championships. So here's the rundown for the morning. 9:15, we're going to catch up with North Carolina Courage U23s. As they won the USLW championship. That happened over the weekend in Cary, North Carolina, head coach Willie Davis, and he's bringing friends. So we're going to catch up with North Carolina Courage, your USLW champs, a little less than a month away from the beginning of the USLS season, the USL Super League. So we're going to catch up with the Courage coming up at 9:15. 9:45, we will actually find out if everyone from Columbus United has made it back from Houston. Brett Teach, the head coach for Columbus United, as they get ready for the NPSL National Semifinal on one side of the bracket, getting ready for their trip to FC Motown on the weekend. So we'll catch up with Coach before practice, and we'll find out actually how many players he has for practice. Morning, Alex. Then at 10 o'clock, John Schuster's joining us because, as he says, he's not superstitious, he's a little stitious. They continue to win. He continues to come on the show. So on the other side of the bracket, Duluth FC is getting ready for El Farolito and a trip to Northern California. So we'll go back and catch up with Schusty about what happened on the trip to Pittsburgh and what is now going to happen as Duluth has to pack up their bags and head to basically San Francisco. So we'll find out about travel plans again from both of those guys, from Brett Teach at 9:45, from John Schuster at 10 o'clock, and that'll set up your NPSL bracket for you as they are in the Final Four and getting ready for their national championship. Lay of the land for the week. Once again, tomorrow, remember, Tyler Pilgrim from Scarves and Spikes joins us at 9:15. Hopefully we can catch up with the busiest man in the Northeast, Dylan Butler, at 10 o'clock, and we'll take you through the rest of the day. Thursday, hopefully we can get someone from Kaylor Hodges, God bless him. The real world is getting in the way, and so we're trying to figure out whom from the USL show can join us at 9:30 Eastern time. Then it is our buddy Nino Torres from Gold TV joining us at 10. Nico Moreno joining us at 10:30 for the last half hour of the show on Thursday. Hopefully on Friday we catch up with our friends from Beyond Goals Mentoring at 9:30. I think that they are somewhere close to being in town. 10 o'clock, we're going to be joined by Scott Wells, the head coach at Asheville City, as they get ready for the round of 8 at Lions Bridge. And we've also reached out to Lions Bridge as they're the host here in the Southeast East. And we'll catch up with everything USL League 2 as they're in the final 8 of their season. So that's the week that we have here this morning. Like I said, coming up in about 7 minutes, we'll catch up with North Carolina Courage and find out about a title that they won on the weekend. Morning four card. And for the record, we found out Pars shot me a DM. I think that's what the kids do these days. Remember, Pars was having problems yesterday in logging in on desktop, laptop. That was finally figured out, and so it is not just the desktop, laptop, Twitch wagging its collective finger at Pars. Pars figured it out, and so thanks to everybody who helped him through making sure that he could continue to watch on like larger devices than his phone. So I want to thank you for helping out with the public service that is there. There's a lot of news this morning in a lot of different places. Obviously, with the Premier League, you've got transfer news, transfer rumors, all that kind of stuff. We do have some economics down here that we need to get into in France involving Bordeaux. When L'Equipe has you on the cover as a club and you're not like PSG or something, you're somebody who's not like the big dog, L'Equipe had Bordeaux on the cover of the sports page this morning. And it ain't good. So we'll get into that situation this morning and let everybody know what is going on there. We've got all the transfer news, all of those kinds of things that are floating around this morning. Anything from the weekend in Major League Soccer that we didn't get into. There are some pieces of news involving what's going on in Columbus that I know that will absolutely shock and surprise you, involving rosters, and so we'll get into that as well when it comes to Inter Miami and Messi and friends, and how Messi and friend are not going to be participating. I mean, Messi, he's kind of wandering around in a walking boot, so it'd be kind of difficult for him to participate, although probably in the skills competition, he probably still could do some stuff, and he probably still could win some of the skills competitions. But we'll have some news involving MLS All-Star, and we'll catch you up on all of that. So there's a lot of news, a lot of different places, a lot of different divisions, a lot of different stuff. It's Tuesday Thoughts. It's also whatever's on your mind as we go this morning. So if there's anything left over from yesterday that we didn't get into, if there's anything involving a league that we didn't get into, anything is on the table this morning on Tuesday Thoughts. But yeah, we're going to be spending a lot of time in different divisions, lower divisions, and all those kinds of things. So we'll see what's on everyone's mind while we are here, and we even have warnings from the FA when it comes to people and franchises and things, and so that's never good when you see all these kinds of things. The Manchester City's getting ready for their tour of the Americas. It looks like it's going to be a bunch of youngins and Jack Grealish that are going to be a part of what we see there. So just to give you a bit of an idea as to what is going on involving Bordeaux. And we talked about, and this is economics down here. So this is the bad part. We had mentioned what was going on with Bordeaux a couple of weeks ago. And I guess this classifies as opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Might be a bit of a tease, actually. That's your QR code. Let me cover up the other QR code real quick. And once again, you hit that QR code, you kick off your day with Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Then don't forget to use the code Soccer Down Here 15. You get 15% off your purchase. They in turn take 10%, reinvest it in youth games, youth initiative, stuff that they call cool, and it is. So that's your QR code for Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. As I cover that up, now I'll let you know about our friends from Alliance Nurse Corps, and right there. Next nursing job waiting for you, Alliance Nurse Corps, over 30 years of experience in bringing folks to the table when it comes to nursing. If they want to do that for their career, here's your QR code for that. And if you, when you hit the QR code for our friends at Alliance Nurse Corps, your next nursing job waiting for you, there's a "how did you hear about us" element to it. You sit there and you say "Soccer Down Here," and so that's how you get into it. But basically, the tease on Bordeaux is that, remember a couple of weeks ago, the Friedkin Group was, or Fenway was, Friedkin is Everton. Fenway Sports Group was kicking the tires on Bordeaux, and that search decided to go by the wayside. And so they were like, no, we're not going to do it. Right now, it appears that Bordeaux is heading to the third division. And we'll get into more details here a little later on this morning. But they're getting into the third division because they don't have the finances that have passed inspection to be in the second division. They were relegated from Ligue 1 this past season. And so it now appears, because they don't have a buyer, that the organization, the overarching organization for the first and second division, they're like, nah, we don't think you're going to make it with finances. Then it was like, okay, so you've been relegated to the third division unless you can find a buyer. Fenway Sports Group kicked the tires. They're like, yeah, no. And so right now, Bordeaux is in the third division. Remember, we had also said that if they did not get a TV contract, that as many as 8 of the clubs in Ligue 1 could have declared bankruptcy. They did end up, I don't know if this has been signed yet, but there's a deal on the table with DAZN and others where it's a 30% decrease from the previous contract. It looks like Ligue 1 is going to sign it. 5-year deal, 30% less, and so we'll see what happens involving all of that when it comes to French football, but more details on that a little later on this morning. We are We're waiting. I see Brooklyn is in the green room, so she's waiting. We're waiting on Coach Davis and Macy Bader, and we're going to then catch up with North Carolina Courage and find out what's going on. Actually, you know what? Since it's 9:15 and she's already waved at me, I think we're going to bring Brooklyn in and go ahead and start our conversation about North Carolina Courage. And Brooklyn is in. You want to? There's Brooklyn. She's going to wave. You going to wave, Brooklyn?
Hey,
There we go. There's Brooklyn. And then we bring in Coach Davis. Coach Davis. Well, check out that backdrop. Check that out. Yeah. And so I saw Macy drift in and drift out. So when Macy comes in, we'll bring her into the conversation too. But first off, congratulations are in order as North Carolina Courage, the USLW champs. Congratulations to all of you.
Thank you.
Has it sunk in yet, Coach? Let me start with you. Since you have the ritual of having the multiple appearances as Courage have worked their way through the playoffs, Coach, has it sunk in yet that you've survived the sprint and you came out on top in USLW?
Yeah. I mean, it's it's been a really cool experience overall, obviously, and last year, and I can't remember if it was you, John, that asked me this a few weeks ago. I was asked, was I bitter about last year? And I really wasn't. It was just a matter of what we can do just a bit better because of, again, when you say coming up short, we lost in overtime last year on the road. And this year, we were lucky enough to host, and it's one of those things that, I told Heather at the end of the game, I said, not many players ever get to play for a national championship in any level, youth, semi-pro, pro, whatever it might be. And we've done it twice now in a row. So I think that's the part I've had a little bit more trouble sinking in because we've done this back-to-back years and trying to chase after this. So.
And it sounds like that your pipes are almost back at 100%. Like they're almost there. Am I close?
Yeah, they're getting there. They're getting
there. You sit there, you try to rest for the weekend with all of the yelling and directing and all this kind of stuff. Brooklyn, let me ask you this. Now that Macy has officially joined us, so welcome. We have the fatal four-way going here to start things off this morning. Brooklyn, let me ask you, what has this ride been like going into a sprint? Because we talked to Coach and we talked to other USLW franchises about the sprint that is the USLW season. Literally, it's like get together, rock and roll, slam it into fifth gear, and then you're done. What has this ride been like for you this year?
Definitely this year has been a little bit different than last year because I missed the first 3 weeks of the season because I was studying abroad in London. So when I came back, I really just jumped right in. But this team was already so united, so together. We'd already won a couple games at that point. So I was just coming into already such a high quality team. So just figuring out how to get my bearings so quickly. But obviously Coach Willie and the rest of the team was so welcoming to me. And it was just a wave. We just rode it all the way through to the end. And it was just amazing to just come together with the group and end up winning. It was just an awesome experience.
All right, Macy, take me through the rain and the nasty. And it looked like on social media when you had Amanda Vandervoort wanting to have a conversation with you outside of the line of players. She wanted to present you with some stuff. Take me through the night and what it was like to have that moment to where North Carolina Courage were that much closer to winning a title and then finally winning a title when the whistle blew.
I'd say I still haven't really recovered, to be honest. I'm still kind of on a high, but just kind of going off of what Brooklyn said, this team has really done something special, and I think part of the reason is because we've all grown up playing together. So it was really easy to, trust that in not ideal weather conditions that we were still going to be able to perform. And honestly, I think the rain made it more fun. I don't know how it was for other people, but I really enjoyed it. But being able, disappointment last year, I was unable to play in the final last year. So coming out and being able to finally kind of complete that little revenge tour is what we were kind of calling it, was just really, really special.
So let me ask you this, Coach. How special was it? Since Macy opened that door, and mentions the revenge tour and it being as special as it was. How special is it with this group that has, for the most part, been together as long as they have? They're in that rhythm. They know where the other was going to be at any given moment. What has it been like to have this group work its way through all of this to get that championship after what happened last year?
Yeah, man, I watched the game back last night for the first time, and it's the first time I've watched one of our games without clipping or prepping for our next game or something like that. So I watched it. It's funny, Macy brought up the rain, and I actually thought we played even better in the second half with the rain and the tough conditions. Our possession was just, I thought they struggled with the pace of our possession. I thought they struggled when we started to press them. We were better. I mean, and part of it, we could say it's weather, but I think the big part was we just got hungrier and we just started to prove our ability, a bit more. But the big thing for me on the whole piece is I had a parent, a youth parent, say to me a few months back, and it made me realize I didn't know enough about our program in this sense. He said, it'd be cool if you had more alumni. And I said to my wife the other day, I said, in our 18 players in the final, 16 of them were alumni or current youth players. 2 of them, who play with Brooklyn in school, were the 2 mainstays that didn't come from our program. But, when you look at what we did last year and then, put on top of that the layer of what we did this year and look at the fact that so many of these players have played through our program or are currently in there, it just makes life easy. I mean, I don't think any other program in the country has it.
So Brooklyn, what was it like? How easy a recruiting job was it to bring in those folks that are outside North Carolina Courage? Hey, come on and play here, and we'll chase after something. What was that recruiting process like? Was it like a trip to Starbucks or something? You said and go, look, this will be fun. It'll be cool. Come on over. What was it like to be a recruiter as a part of this process?
Honestly, I got to give all the credit to Willie because last year Taylor and Hannah joined us, and I didn't even know they were joining us till we showed up that summer. But definitely when they had asked me about the program and asked me about the coaches, I had nothing but good things to say. I love all the girls in the program, love the coaches. They bring an intensity every day that is similar, if not equal to what we get at college. So it was a no-brainer for them to be able to hop into the program and just continue to improve so that we can bring what we learn here back to our college teams. So it was very easy recruiting process for sure.
So, all right. So Macy, let me ask you this. When has it sunk in, or has it sunk in? When did it sink in that a championship was yours? Was there a moment in the rain? Did you wait until you got indoors? All the pomp and circumstance. When has it sunk in, or has it sunk in? Have you had to have that moment of zen where you sit there and go, man, we actually did this?
Bits and pieces, Amelia Brown, who's on the team, she's at school with me and she's one of my roommates. And we're back at morning workouts for school. And we were talking about it. It's like, there's no way that we just won a national championship like 48 hours ago and, back to the grind. But I'd say like the big moment was after, like the award ceremony, we were back in the locker room and everyone was taking pictures. And I just sat down and had like the MVP trophy and just started bawling, crying. And I got crap from everyone about it and being all emotional. I got Heather O'Reilly yelling at me to stop crying. But it was just like I was sick for like the first month of the season this year, and to be able to come in and, still perform at a high level, but also know that, my team did not miss a beat without me there, and I was able to still be welcomed back in. It just was it was very emotional to say the least, but I couldn't have done it without them.
So, Coach, let me ask you this: when you don't have everyone for 100% of the season, how much of a challenge is it for you and the staff to integrate folks, even though there is that history of them coming through the program and they kind of know the Courage way? How difficult was it for you and the staff to hit all the right buttons when it came to line up an organization and who's going to be doing what? How hard of a challenge was that?
Yeah, I mean, it can be tricky because, the one thing I say is they're not under contract. So it's not like, they at no stage do they have to be there. Our core group of players, the two of which are sitting here with you right now, have been with us for, I think, Macy for 3 years and Brooklyn for 2. And they, they make it easy because I know there may be some vacation time, but they're not going to miss major stretches. Macy's was a little different because she did get sick early on in the season, but I think the only positive of that is she got sick early and was able to bounce back and get back into the back part of everything. But like I said, I think that when you look at our roster, and we had some key players that elected to step away. But when you look at our key roster, it's, and it's no disrespect to any player that comes outside of Courage, but I just realized this year that the players that you can almost always count on are the players that have come through our program. It's just it's a type of commitment that they have. It's an understanding of what Courage means to them, not just the staff. And, it can be tricky, but, luckily we have a base of players that just make it work consistently.
Head coach Willie Davis, Brooklyn Holt, Macy Bader from North Carolina Courage hanging out with us as they are the USLW champs in 2024. Brooklyn, when you look at, let me go this way. Do you remember day one for you in the Courage program? I mean, like day one. Do you remember your first day as a part of North Carolina Courage?
When you say that, do you mean youth or USL?
Like day one. I mean, like from the absolute beginning when you were like, 2 years old or something like that. Do you remember your first day?
I remember because we came up, my team was we were the youngest team when the program started. So I was in 8th grade going into 9th grade. I definitely remember the tryouts and all that good stuff, but definitely remember just the team building. And I had girls like Kaylee and Amelia Brown, Baylor on my team, and we all grew up together and were fortunate to play in this last game together, this last season together. I definitely remember the Courage program, and it was definitely one of the best 4 years of my life. It just taught me how to be a professional. From the very first minute we stepped into the program, we were taught to be mini professionals. And it's carried us all the way through. And like Willie said, it's helped us in this USL program. And it's like Macy's, it's like we didn't skip a beat. We just stepped right into being professionals, into this semi-professional league. And it's just been a great base. And I think that's the thing I remember most from this program, is teaching us how to be professionals, even from such a young age.
So then, Macy, 2-part question. Do you remember your first day, your day one? Do you remember how far back that was for you?
So when I was going into 9th grade, basically Brooklyn played for this club called Castle, and I played for this club called TFC, and they ended up merging to create like NCFC, and then the girls' academy was NC Courage. And I remember there were me and one other girl were like the only two that made it from the TFC team to the NC Courage Academy. And it was definitely intimidating because, you're with the big dogs now. Like, this is what even at 15, like, this is what you've been preparing for. And coming in, having a team of girls that were pushing you every day, that were very, very close. And even, Brooklyn's team was a year younger than me. We hung out with them on away trips. We idolized the older girls, like Alexis Strickland, who played with us. She was on that older girls team, and I remember being like a 15-year-old idolizing her as like 18, and now we're very close friends. So I think one thing that stuck is how close we all are as a program, not necessarily as teams. You have the couple people you've grown up with for being on the same team for 4 years. I mean, I've had Willie since I was U16 as a coach, so just that kind of growing and evolving, but still holding the same fundamentals that we became friends on and teammates on is just means so much.
Second part of the question, where is the MVP trophy with the goal and assist?
I don't know if you can see it. It is right back there. Right back there. I had to bring it back to school.
Go get it. All
right.
Yeah, see, that's the beauty of live everything, is that we can go. I want to see this trophy because I saw the social media post.
Here she is.
There it is.
My pride and joy. Yeah, my mom tried to convince me to leave it at home, and I said no, that is going to be on my dresser, so I see it every morning when I wake up.
So what is that? What is that like to first off wrangle an MVP trophy away from your mom, so it's not going to stay? But what's that like to have that kind of physical representation? While yes, the Courage as an organization has a trophy that I'm sure that's a separate question. So my next question, Coach, will be on that trophy. But what's it like to have that kind of physical representation?
It it means everything. I mean, I clearly could not have done this without my team, but going into the game, I kind of knew the last few games, like my role, I've kind of always been a leader on the team and knew that even though, I'm one of the older players, like my role this game is going to be as a game changer. And I was like, I can either be, upset. They're focused on the fact that I wasn't starting, or I can realize like this is what my team needs from me and give it my all. Unfortunately, I focused on the second option and was able to come up big and help us get there, but couldn't have done it without everyone else, which is why sometimes as much as I love, this MVP trophy, it's you want to give one to everyone because I couldn't have done it without them.
Well, I think you could do some 3D printing, couldn't you? You sit there and you
I
like.
mean, we'll find a way to make a copy somehow. The medals just don't seem like enough.
Coach, let me ask you this: along the lines of the trophy being with Macy, do you treat this like the Stanley Cup? Does everybody on the team get a day with the trophy, or is it just going to stay with you? And it's like, yeah, you can come and visit it, and that kind of a thing.
Well, we would do that, but that's what's unique about this group. I mean, they are often taking care of business elsewhere now. They're starting their preseason, and we don't have that. We made a joke, David Madra and I, afterwards about getting a bus and having a parade. And I was like, yeah, the problem is I won't have a team because my team's off the preseason now. So, so that's kind of the tough part. I mean, if the beauty is we get all the way to the end and we win it. The tough part is teams, and no offense to anybody else, if they finish early, they have some time to get their group together and have an end of the year thing because they didn't go as long. But, with us going as long as we did, I mean, unfortunately, the players, they've got to go take care of the other business that they have in their lives. So
it's going to hang out with you, basically.
Yeah, I'll take it to the soccer office. The Courage office, the main Courage office did talk about getting it, and I said no. So we'll take it to our youth office and put it in there.
One more round with everybody here. Brooklyn, let me ask you what's next on your itinerary? What's up with you heading back to school and chasing after stuff in the ACC? What's next on your line of sight?
Definitely hopping back into preseason, like Mason really said, just back to business. We started. Everybody's back now, so it's cool to get the group back together and to prepare for our upcoming season. We play Carolina Ascent Super League team, our first exhibition game this season, so that'll be good, a good test. And just coming back, remaining healthy and trying to make it through the season and do our very best and improve from last year.
Okay, MVP, what's next for you?
Gosh, the MVP has such a nice ring to it, but it's time to get back to business here. Summer league is everything. It means everything. And, you've been working the whole summer for it, but when you get back to school, it doesn't really transfer over. It's a nice accolade, but, we haven't really proved anything yet at school this year. So clean slate. And as much as, I like that for a confidence booster in the back of my mind, I haven't proved anything yet this season. So I'm excited to get back out there, and I want to have another trophy or another ring by the end of November.
All right, Coach, what's next for you with Courage now that you've got the USLW season, you got the trophy. Now what's next for you?
For me, I think I'm going to listen to my wife and try to take a little time away from the game a bit. It's the beauty of it is we have our youth side is a 10-month program, but then with our 23s continuously do well, which we had the last 2 years, it's been almost a 12-month thing. So for me, just take a little time and recharge before we start back in August.
No doubt about it. Well, Coach, first off, thanks for, as John Schuster at Duluth FC always says, I'm not superstitious, I'm a little stitious. Thanks for coming in through every stage of the playoffs that you continue to win and telling the story of North Carolina Courage. Coach, Brooklyn, and the MVB. I guess we should just call you an MVB, right, Macy? Just go that way. Instead of an MVP, call you the MVB. Willie Davis, Brooklyn Holt, Macy Bader, thanks for dropping by this morning. Congratulations on the USLW trophy. We'll be keeping an eye on these next steps and next stages. And just be safe, have fun, get your voices back, and take some time. Thanks for dropping by here on the morning show. Congratulations. We'll catch up with all of you soon.
Thanks for the constant coverage. Appreciate it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right. That is Coach Davis, and that is the coverage of North Carolina Courage, your champs in USLW. So very, very cool that that Coach Davis got to drop by, and literally it was just like, okay, you won, you're coming back. You won, you're coming back, and that's kind of like what we're going to be doing with Brett Teach in 10 minutes and John Schuster at the top of the hour. It's like you win, you keep coming back, and that's the thing. It's like, okay, it's a part of our ritual and a part of our week, and so very, very cool stuff involving North Carolina Courage, your USLW champs, knocking off Colorado Storm. Macy Bader, the MVP, with a goal and an assist. She got the goal that made it 2-1, and she got an assist along the way. So big win for North Carolina Courage in the U23s, and great to have them here on the morning show. So morning, Alex, morning, Four-Card, morning, Kefsey. And, okay, that's a rather interesting bot, and that's definitely going to be nothing like bots that are a part of, it's like, well, and this is a different approach from a bot that we've had in the past. I'm not going to say what this particular bot said, AMEST. So submitting the report, blocking the user, and closing that up. So congratulations, morning, David. So that was a rather interesting approach from a bot. We'll see how long that hangs out. All right. Let's get into really quickly news out of Major League Soccer that I know will surprise you. Like I said, we'll get into the stuff involving Bordeaux and the news and the transfers in hour number 2. Skills Challenge is tonight, 7:30. It's part of a long day at MLS, where you have the MLS Next All-Star Game presented by Allstate. And that is, 11:30 this morning. So you leave us, and you wait till about 11:30, and then on MLSsoccer.com is the MLS Next Fest as a part of this is how they phrase it. You got to be born between 07 and 09 and competed in the MLS Next regular season, played in at least one of the MLS Next Premier events this year: Next Fest, Next Flex, GA Cup, or the Next Cup playoffs and showcase. And so Aiden Torres, and you can't miss Aiden because of the platinum blondness that Aiden Torres has taken. So Aiden Torres representing Atlanta United as an 07. So he's going to be there. He's going to be wearing number 20. A couple of other folks. I'm trying to buzz through the roster really quickly and see if there are any other familiar faces. Colin Gusky, who we've seen with Orlando City B, is going to be a part of this. Juan Rojas at Orlando City B. Kevin Sullivan, who is an 2009 people. Kevin Sullivan's going to be a part of this as well. So Kevin Sullivan, Colin Gusky, Juan Rojas, and Aiden Torres, a couple of the familiar names. So 11:30 is going to be the MLS Next All-Star Game. That's going to be at MLSsoccer.com, and it'll be great to see Aiden Torres. I know this will come as a shock to you, but both Luis Suarez and Lionel Messi are like, nope, we're not playing. Considering that Messi's in a walking boot, and I believe it was referred to as knee discomfort was the way it is with Luis Suarez. Considering that Luis Suarez's knee at present is marginal at best. Diego Luna and Moise Bombito were added as coaches selections back on the 19th. And then on the 21st, Gabriel Peck and Peter Musa added as coaches selections. And so do not be surprised if you had Luis Suarez and Lionel Messi just kind of, wave their hands to the crowd and everything. Hi, how you doing? We're here. Great to be here. And so we'll see what that looks like. But then you've got Skills Challenge, and you've got the Unified Match, which is going to be at 3:30. I think that's going to be on MLSsoccer.com as well. So keep an eye on all of that going forward. A couple of transactions in Major League Soccer. LAFC has transferred, and this is probably something right up Bam's alley. LAFC has transferred defender Mamadou Fall to Barca. Spent last season on loan there, featured in 22 matches for the Barca Bees. Previously, they'd loaned him to Villarreal. Initially signed him in 2021. 11 goals, 2 assists, and 101 professional appearances, 5 goals, 1 assist, and 36 with the black and gold. And so now officially official, Mamadou Fall has been transferred to Barca. FC Dallas have acquired a midfielder, if my memory serves, a midfielder, Manuel Kafumana. And so Kafumana comes from Maccabi Haifa. So Sho is his nickname. Sho Kafumana. Maccabi Haifa, the 25-year-old Angolan international, year-long loan with a purchase option, 5 goals, 6 assists in 175 appearances. Recent stops Boa Vista, Ludogorets Razgrad, and Maccabi Haifa played extensively in European competitions and the CAF Champions League. 1 goal, 31 appearances for Angola. Reinforcement with injuries to Paxton Pomykal and Liam Frazier, and with Peter Luchin, they're chasing a playoff appearance in the West. Nashville yesterday signed midfielder Patrick Yazbek from Viking FK in Norway. 22-year-old Australian is going to occupy a U22 spot. Mike Jacobs in the multi-sentence press release. Experience with the Australian national team as well as playing in the top division in Norway at such a young age. Have already demonstrated unique attributes that should translate to Major League Soccer. And so, of course, the release on the 280-character app, From Down Under to the Music City. Yazbek is a U22. 4 goals, 10 assists, and 95 appearances spread across boyhood side Sydney FC and Viking. Debuted for the Australia senior team in a World Cup qualifier against Lebanon, adding depth to the midfield group of Yearwood, Davis, Godoy, Tob Ryan, Anunga, and Amar Sadic. BJ Callahan's going to take over the club in the Leagues Cup. So we'll keep an eye on Patrick Yazbek. Yesterday, we talked about Caleb Wiley. DC United has signed a Cameroonian midfielder, Boris Eno. And Boris Eno comes from Maccabi Netanya in Israel's top flight. Former Cameroonian international under contract through 27 with an option for 28. Ali Mackay, chief soccer officer and GM, talented midfielder, strong work ethic. 6 goals, 4 assists, and 130 appearances featuring at Porto, Lens, reserves before going to Maccabi Netanya, adding depth to the midfield anchored by Peltola and Kleek. And so 3 summertime signings, Eno, left back David Schnegg, and Dom Baji. And so also Portland Timbers have signed a defender, Finn Sermon. And so Finn Sermon comes from Wellington Phoenix. Club announced last week under contract through 26 with an option for 27, representing New Zealand in Paris at the 5 Ring Circus. And so he had his first day signed, and then he was out the door, headed to Paris. Once in 51 matches, scoring 5 times for the New Zealand senior team, helping them capture the 2024 Men's Nations Cup. Joins the center back core that includes Kamal Miller, Miguel Arujo, Zach McGraw, Dario Zuparic, and Laris Mabiala. So that's just the little bit of what's been going on with the transfer tracker and all of the acquisitions, inbound, outbound, what have you. And so I'm going to keep an eye on all of that. So once again, remember tonight, All-Star Game, Skills Challenge, all of that stuff going on. The next All-Star Game is this afternoon. The Skills Challenge is tonight, and the MLS All-Star Game is tomorrow. And so keep an eye on all of that stuff involving, the really cool aspects of it. And I know that it's at 8 o'clock tomorrow at lower.com. It's on the free side of Apple TV. So we'll see what all the pomp and circumstance is, but no Messi, and you will not have one of his friends because of knee discomfort involving Luis Suarez. So you've got David's in this morning. And so morning, everybody. And he says, David watched some U20s last night. Noah Cobb didn't start, came out at the half. It was an easy 4-0 win over Cuba. It was 2-0. It literally was 2-0 at the break. And then they scored 2 more in the second half. And it was a 4-0 win for the United States in that tournament, advancing to the quarterfinals for the U20s. Ethan Kohler, Xavier Gozo, Taha Habrun scored for Michael Encian's side. They're going to play for the top spot in Group A when they face Costa Rica in Thursday's group finale. Kohler had a Nico Sekira's free kick from the near side, and Kohler charged inside the 6, deflected it. It went past the keeper, gave him a lead after 15. Gozo puts in a shot in the back of the net with a little help from Taha Habrun in the 26th, 2-0 at the break. Habrun scored in the 58th. Marcus Zambrano scored from a feed from Sergio Orahel at 90+1 to go to 4-0 right now after 2 matches in Group A. 10:06 p.m. once again, FS1 this time, 2-NA and VIX on Thursday. U.S. is 2-0. They've yet to give up a goal, and they scored 9 against Jamaica. They've scored 4 against Cuba, and so it's going to come down to the matchup against Costa Rica, plus 13 in goal difference. Costa Rica right now second in Group A, 1-0-1 with 4 points. Cuba with 1 point and a goal difference of -4, and Jamaica has lost both of their matches, and they have given up 12 goals in that run. Now 5-0-2 against Cuba at the U20s. 3 different players get their first goals for the U20 men's youth national team. 9 players have now scored for the U.S. in the tournament. Marcus Zambrano's now scored in 2 matches in the U20s. 7th straight clean sheet in the CONCACAF U20s, by the way. Currently a clean sheet streak. Say that 10 times fast. 651 minutes. The last goal conceded, an own goal in the 69th minute of the 2-2 draw with Canada on June 20 of 2022. Nice. That was in tournaments in Celaya, Mexico, by the way. And once again, they're 2 hours behind. So they're in the mountain time zone compared to the East Coast. 10:06 kick Thursday is what it's going to look like. So, yeah, Noah Cobb came in the beginning of the second half as a part of the club. 25 shots to 9 for the U.S., 10 shots on target to 2. Cuba 6 saves, and corners 8-3 for the U.S. 31 fouls called, by the way. And guess who the man in the middle was? Guess who the man in the middle was? Filip Dujic. Filip Dujic was the man in the middle last night for the U20 tourney. And I know a lot of folks were gravitating to Filip Dujic who were watching the match. But legitimately, when it comes to Filip Dujic, I know a lot of us are sitting there, and we always will remember Filip Dujic for one thing and one thing only. And he shall only be remembered for one thing and one thing only. However. Yes, thank you, Filip Dujic. So if you had forgotten what Filip Dujic was all about, you got to see it last night in the tournament as he was the man in the middle for the U.S. and Cuba. Nothing like that. You sit there and you wonder what the next time it's going to be when you're going to see an individual, and Filip Dujic, sure enough, drops in, and we're reminded all over again why Filip Dujic is Filip Dujic. However, we got Filip Dujic on the board. I didn't think that we'd have Filip Dujic on the bingo card this morning. But, you know, when you're a center ref for a tournament in the US, you know, in the CONCACAF U20s, you're going to have that particular you're going to have all of that kind of fun working your way through. Waiting on Brett Teach to see if he can find a couple of minutes with us here before his practice starts. John Schuster joining us in about 10 minutes as well to go through everything with Duluth FC and find out what's going on with them in the NPSL. We're in the NPSL Final Fours, and so we're going to catch up with all of them this morning. Like I said, we've got a lot of stuff going on here in the NPSL, and so now we bring in Brett. All right, so my first question is, where are you?
I'm in my apartment in Columbus. We were having some trouble getting the link to work, and so sorry I was a couple minutes late. My main web browser is Safari, and this one only works with Chrome. So I had to switch over, and then of course I didn't know my password for my email. We got in really late last night. Our flight was, so we flew from Midland to Houston on Sunday, and when we got to Houston, we were on the runway, and we couldn't get to our gate, so we sat there for 35, 45 minutes, and we watched our flight to Birmingham leave.
Oh, man.
Even though we had a third of the flight and every other flight was delayed in the entire airport, United Airlines decided for whatever reason this flight to Birmingham had to get off on time. So I did delay it 15 minutes for us, but we were in. So our flight left at 8:05. We were sitting on the runway at 7:30, and so even though we were a third of the flight, so they left with with only 2/3 of the flight full because we had 20 guys. And then we couldn't get everybody back. So they said, yeah, we can get you back by Friday. So yesterday we rented 2 minivans, and myself and our ops director, along with a couple of our older players, tag team to drive from Houston. But it gets better. Instead of driving to Columbus, which would have been the easy thing, we had to drive to Atlanta, then to Columbus, because Columbus Airport doesn't accept one-way rentals. So instead of us being able to drop them off the next day, they only rent them for 1 day. So our guys, the half of our team that had to ride with us, had to ride. All in all, we were on the road for about 16 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, so needless to say, we lost another training day today. I couldn't ask the guys that drove with me to get out and do anything. So I'm not training at 10. So that's the one positive. But we got here and we're all safe. And in the end, if it's the worst thing that ever happens to us, we'll be fine. But it was an unnecessary thing. Could have waited another 15 minutes. We'd have been on the flight. But really kudos to Hitch and his team for getting us home. We didn't love the drive because it's really long.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you're hitting New Orleans, you're only halfway home.
Yep.
And then what's really worse is you get to the exit to go to Columbus on 85.
You still got to go.
You still got to go another 2 hours the other way and then back down. And we even tried to rearrange a couple of things, but it didn't quite work. So, you know, it is what it is. The guys were great. They're troopers. I mean, we've been on the road forever now. It's funny. We started our season with 4 of our first 5 games on the road, and we're ending it with 5 games in a row on the road. Or 6 if we win the next one, it'll be 6 straight road games to finish it. So, you know, we're road warriors. We're used to it. And we're probably going to end up having to bus to New Jersey.
Whoa.
16 hours. Well, would you trust the airlines?
True. Good point. Understood.
And so with a bus, we control as many variables as you can control. So, you know, we'll go up, we'll leave on the evening of Thursday and go up all night. And it's not ideal. And it's not what I want to do, but we get there.
Okay.
And so, I mean, like we're fortunate, you know, I think you always have to look at both sides of things and look where you're fortunate as well. This didn't happen Friday when the rest of the world was having all kinds of problems. Like when I was talking to you on Friday, you know, we were an hour delayed, but we got to Midland with no problems. So we're able to play, no competitive disadvantage. And so, you know, I don't want to seem like ungrateful because I'm really grateful we got there. A lot of people, a lot worse shape than we are.
Right.
And so it is tough. But I'll tell you, our guys, the entire ride home, the only person who was complaining is probably me. I'm old and driving in a van that far. But quite frankly, no, the guys were great. It was a tough day, but again, they're resilient. They understood. They're not thrilled about the bus going up, but they all get it. They're like, yeah, you know, because I said, look, I'll leave it to you guys. What do you think? These are our choices. We can fly and take our chances out of Atlanta, which is a disaster right now. My hometown, but it's a disaster. Or we can just bus. No, we're going to get there. Be a little less convenient. But we'll have everything there. And they're like, yeah, just do the bus. So, and in the end, it won't be an excuse. It's just how we had to get there. And it's not a financial thing. It's just a concern with, you know, because Hitch gave me the choice. And I didn't trust that they would have everything resolved in time. And our travel agent was advising us, look, if you can get a bus, do it. So she just said, I can't guarantee you can get there. And so it's like, you know what, you know, we'll just do it. And we've been on the road this long already. I mean, we got back from Hickory at 4 a.m. and then we're on a flight. We were up again less than 24 hours later, going to the airport in Atlanta to fly out to Midland. So guys are resourceful and they're tough and they're used to it. So we'll be fine.
All right, 5 more minutes with Brett Teach here as he catches his breath after travel adventures. So how was West Texas? It was a shootout. Pardon the pun, knowing where the match is being played. But what are your takeaways from the matchup to get you into the Final Four?
Yeah, it was it was what I expected. It was a good game. One of the things out there was the wind was probably 20, 30 miles an hour. And so in the first half, we had the win. So we got on them early, got up a couple of goals. I told the guys, look, they're going to have momentum at times, and they're a good team. And so you have to realize that I think we were a little unfortunate with a couple of the goals. There was some controversy about the penalty at the end. There's a little bit of controversy about their first goal because it looks like the ball's a yard out when the guy crosses it. But in the end, look, they're a great team. And I told the guys, I said, look, it doesn't matter in the end what happened. What matters is it's done. And now we got to figure out a way. And when we got to overtime, it was really going to be a matter whether we scored or we went to penalties because we had all the play. And then I'll be darned, those guys were up 4-3 up a goal, and they got a ball. A guy beat our keeper, and luckily our center back cleared off the line, and that kind of ended the game. But just a really good team, well coached, a great attacking team. The kid from West Virginia, Luke McCormick, was outstanding. They're tough, and after the game, they were nothing but class. You know, they were like, guys, congrats, what a great game. Because we were up 3-0, we hit the post to go up 4, and that would have ended it altogether. But, you know, it was a great game, but it was worthy of an Elite Eight game. I mean, it just was. It was a great game. Both teams wanted to win. Both teams worked hard. Both teams are champions. Champions don't give up easily. And so I was proud of my guys, but I was also proud of their guys.
So then when do you start caring about FC Motown? I mean, obviously today you're just kind of like catching your breath and sitting down and maybe parking in front of the TV, hanging out a little bit. But when do you start thinking about FC Motown?
I think the game ended the other night at about 9:30 Central Time, so about 9:31. My assistant, who wasn't able to travel, was already watching. He watched their game, took notes, sent me notes, and we started talking right away. No, I've probably watched half their season already.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I mean, no, this is what you do in college, you know, and I'm a college guy. Because we have access to every game in Division I, you know, I generally will watch the last 5 games of a team's season and then build scouting reports out. We do concern ourselves mainly with how we play.
Yeah.
We talk mainly about, because our whole game is about being on the ball and being, you know, controlling the game. And we're averaging about 560 passes completed a game. And we're now getting to the point where we're converting that into goal scoring chances. And so we scored a lot of goals. We give up too many right now. And that's something I'd like to see us, you know, try to mitigate. But, you know, Motown's really good. They're going to be it'll be a big challenge. But again, you're in the Final Four. It should be.
So when are you leaving and when is the match?
Match is Saturday night at 7. We're playing on the campus of Drew University. Normally they play Montclair State, but I think there's been a shift for some reason. We leave Thursday sometime after dinner. We'll drive all night. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Road Warriors, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Because my take is I do want them to have more than 24 hours to recover.
Right.
So we'll get there midday on Friday and they'll relax and we'll get to the hotel, probably do a little swim, a little walk, but we're not going to get out in the field. We'll just take it easy. And you know, actually the crazy thing is, you know, we're all over the place this week. I've got a camp at Mount St. Mary's with over 200 kids in it. So I've got to be there. And so I'm going to be with the team and then going up to there for the rest of the week. And our player coach, Jonah, is also an assistant coach at Mount St. Mary's. So he'll be with me there. And my assistant coach, who couldn't be at Nationals, will be running training the next 30 days. And so we're all just basically going to meet up and play. We're fortunate that our team is all here. We do have one kid who's he's going to fly in for the game because it was an international kid who's had family obligations in the U.S. His family came over, sees him once a year. So we said, go and we'll deal with it. And so fortunately, again, our organization is one that believes in our kids. And so they're going to make it possible for them to play in the game. So
be safe, be well. Good luck in the semis. We'll catch up with you soon, my friend. Thanks for dropping by.
Yeah, John, league the way you do. It's outstanding. Look forward to hearing more about you.
All right, be good. Be safe. And there's a hot tag. It is 10 o'clock Eastern, which means it's Sean Schuster.
I'm on the move.
Where are you?
Our team is just finishing up, as I've learned to call it this year, training. So I'm trying to stay out of the wind, though. It's kind of windy. It's getting us ready for the wind we're going to see coming up this Saturday down in San Francisco.
All right, so let's go back a little bit. We had Brett Teach, the head coach for Columbus United, on before you. He gave us adventures in travel, and boy, were they adventures in travel. His team just got back to Columbus in full because of crowd strike and all of that. You mentioned everybody on a bus going to Pennsylvania. What was travel like getting there?
So for us, I had a delay in the morning coming out of Duluth, so I wasn't sure I was going to be able to get to the game. But luckily, the flight to Pittsburgh got delayed as well, and we were able to get there. As the game was being played, I got a notification from the airline that said your flight's been canceled. So I hopped on the bus and I took that bus ride home with the team, which I was actually very grateful to be able to do.
All right, break down the game for me. You said it was nuts. For those that didn't get the chance to see it, what happened?
I mean, we came out in the first 10 minutes, and I was still trying to book hotel rooms for our way back. I was on hold for a long time, and the game kicked off, and I was standing next to their owner, and they actually came out and sat back. We were expecting a high press out of those guys, and they sat back, and our guys did what they do, and were kind of relentless early, and went and put a goal in the net in the first 10 minutes, and got a 1-0 lead, and then they changed a little bit. They moved around a little bit more than that, and it was just a crazy game of soccer. It's an incredible organization. Their fan base reminds me very much of ours. A lot of youth, a mix of everybody from 80 years old to 8 years old. They had kids lined up along the fence, and the field we played on had a fence that was 3 yards away from the sideline, and there were kids chirping our left and right backs, depending who was on the near side the entire game. It was just an incredible atmosphere, and they equalized early, later in the first half, and then, we made a few subs, and one of those subs came in and got us back to a 2-1 lead, and we got to stoppage time, and they worked and got a corner, and they were kind of dangerous on set pieces all day, and a ball pinged around, and they scored in stoppage time to equalize it, and then one of our guys made a long run, being aggressive, a midfielder, and went in for a tackle and got there late and got an instant red, and so we played 11 on 10 for all of extra time.
Wow.
And the effort of our guys, I mean, you could see the tiredness in the legs of the other guys, and they made all of their subs, and we still had a few subs left, but we ended up making all of ours as well, and our guys worked like crazy, and Liam Pritchard, our right winger, made a run down the right-hand side that I've never seen anything like it. He had been playing, I mean, we were 100 minutes into the game, and he ran like the wind down there and got the ball down to goal line and centered it out there. And two of their guys kind of, I think, I got it, you take it, and one of our guys slipped between them. And Felipe Oliveira deposited one to the upper right corner, and we defended it off and ended up sneaking out of there with a win. I don't think you could, if you told me a team would go down one in would go, give up the equalizer in stoppage time, go down a guy for all of extra time, and come out of there with a win without getting to PKs, I would have called you crazy. And that's exactly what the team did. It was wild.
I can sense, and there's this aura about them right now, about everything that's happened. It's almost like there's still a little bit of disbelief in you.
You know what? Not at all.
No?
I actually think, and that's where, talking to our coach, and maybe you'll get to talk to him here because he's going to walk by me. Maybe I'll have him pop on and say a few words because I just, heard your the Columbus coach on as well. So, which they've made a pretty improbable run here in the playoffs too. But we've always believed that we were the team that we thought we were coming into the year, the team that, finished the last year's regular season #1 in the country, and thought that we maybe even, upgraded in a few spots. So we expected to be here, and it was that belief that the coach, let the guys know, like going into extra time, like all we got to do is keep on grinding, keep on believing, and keep on working our butts off and outworking the other team. And I don't think just because they have another player that we're at a disadvantage here. And sure enough, I mean, they believed and they made it happen. It was really, really special.
Well, and you know about the value of belief on an international scale. What's it like for you to see that transform itself into something where you have a rooting interest and you want to see it succeed on your local and on national level? What's it like for you to be on the other side of this, knowing that there is belief in those around you as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of what I'm doing is, in the stand, and that's where, I may not be able to go to the game Saturday because we had some major plans otherwise, but, I'm standing there in the stands, and every time that somebody makes a play that soccer people know is a heck of a play, but, doesn't necessarily get noticed on paper, doesn't necessarily, get recognized by the casual fan, or maybe the casual fan doesn't know these guys, and I know these guys all on such a personal level that, I'm the guy. And I got a loud voice. I'm used to yelling from my skipping that I do in curling, but I'm the guy in the stands that's up there encouraging these guys to keep grinding. And there they are right here. Let's see. Woo. Check to make sure. So yeah. Uh-oh.
Where is he? Where is Sean? Is he?
Yeah, well, I'll get him for you. He's usually the last guy to walk through here. So.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the team all kind of walks out, and generally Sean is, he's probably honestly cleaning up cones and putting stuff back in our storage closet that they give us. So. Morning, boys. the camaraderie, and that's exactly it, though. The camaraderie amongst the team, and I know all these teams pretty much have it like that, but there's just something special and different about this group of guys, and we went 2,237 miles via bus last week.
Wow.
And when we got back here, there were host families and people back here to greet the guys at 11:40 at night when we got back on Sunday night. And these guys still walked off the bus with all the spirit of that they had. They didn't let that 2,200 miles take it from them. So pretty special.
That's crazy. 2,200 miles on a bus. You gonna write a book about travel adventures in the NPSL?
Yeah, something like that. So now, yeah, the reason I came to training this morning, besides with being able to be around these guys, is because a lot of them have a lot of names, and we got to book their travel through a travel agency, and I got to make sure we get that right so they don't get stuck in TSA. So.
How special has this?
All right, 1 second, Coach. You dressing the team? You wanted to say hi to my soccer down here podcast, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
All right. See, he's got the playoff beard. I see how that.
Yeah, my wife's not too happy, but it is what it is, huh?
All right, so Sean Morgan, the head coach at Duluth FC, dropping by as we're talking to the guy to your right who believes in superstition, or actually ritual. He's a little stitious. He's not superstitious. He says he's a little. What has this ride been like for you and the guys? And I mean that literally and figuratively. 2,200 miles on a bus, and you're now in the semifinals.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. I mean, we've had a lot of these guys for a couple of years now, and the work and effort that they've put in over such a long period of time. I know that they're going back to their colleges and stuff, and we've kept in contact throughout the last 2-3 years, in some cases 4, and for them to do it the way that they've done it is just, honestly, it's like a fairy tale, like a dream, and it's no more than they deserve for the work that they put in. Like, we're doing 7 a.m. sessions. I think we tallied it up. We've done 52 training sessions since May 7th, I think. So a lot of time spent together, a lot of time on the pitch, a lot of time on the road, and just to get it done in the way that we've done it. Still got one more to go, so looking forward to this weekend.
Schusty was breaking down the match and how everything happened in Pennsylvania from your perspective there on the touchline, where apparently the fence that surrounds the field might have had a good 3 yards between you and the fans, and you're catching a whole lot of grief the whole time.
Oh, no, that was the other sideline, though.
Okay. Well, then let me ask you this. What was it like for you on the touchline as Schusty broke down all the craziness where late equalizer, down a man, get the win? What was it like for you and the staff on the touchline navigating all of that stuff late?
Yeah, nerve-wracking at times, to be honest. And I mean, like I've played football since I was 4 years old, and the team that concedes in the 90th minute and then goes a man down, like, they never ever win the game. So for the guys to believe in themselves and to keep playing and stick to our principles and how we want to play, and then still get it done, was just fantastic. A man down, and the heart that they were able to show just to fend off one of the one of the best teams in the country at this level is just fantastic, and kind of go through the gamut of emotions and relief at the final whistle and how slowly time's going in the extra time, the last 15-minute period. So yeah, it's just you can't quite believe what you're seeing at times, and for us to get it done in that way, and as soon as the whistle went, I held it together for a little bit, but I ended up just breaking down a little bit too. But yeah, just fantastic, unbelievable feeling, and go through the whole gamut of emotions throughout the game.
Well, Sean, you guys have done great so far. I know that lactic acidosis is probably taking John's right arm right now. Well done so far. Yeah, I'm not. Am I wrong?
I'm an Olympic athlete, John.
Sean, it's great to see you. Thanks for dropping by at the end of practice this morning. Be safe getting out there to Northern California. We'll catch up with you soon.
Yeah, really appreciate it. Take care.
All right, Shusty, let me continue. Hey, look, you're getting like a videographer's credit for all of this stuff this morning, man.
Yeah, I'm doing my best. I would have been out, probably show you the pitch in the background, but it's raining, so I'm hanging out under the bleachers.
No, hey, dude, nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of magic that comes about this time of year with playoffs and everything. When I talk about Duluth as a soccer community, how have they continued to embrace this run that has had its moments of crazy this season?
Yeah, I think last year as we kind of, moved up the rankings and had a year, and all of a sudden, going through the year undefeated, and I think people really started to notice. And I always challenge people in the community that have never been out to a game, even if they are casual soccer fans, is get out here and see a game, and you're going to realize what we have here as far as the product on the field. See you guys. But that's exactly it. It's it's the culture that you build around a soccer club is that camaraderie. But and so when people come out here and watch one game, they never be like, okay, that was nice, but I don't need to do that anymore. They're always looking at the schedule for the next one. And so yeah, it's for soccer fans, and then right now our youth soccer in around this area is blowing up, and I'm just looking at a bunch of girls here that and boys that are doing an elite soccer camp, I think, coming out here right now. So you see that growth in the youth soccer around here, and they're coming to the games, and their parents are bringing them, and it's really just you can see it happening, and it's fun to be a part of it.
So, all right, one more time. What's the travel plans to Northern California?
So, yeah, we're going to hop on a plane. We're actually have to drive down to the Twin Cities in the wee hours of the morning on Friday. Get on a plane at 7, land in San Francisco, I believe, 9:35. Then a couple people have to go get some vans. We got our hotel kind of set up and squared away. And then, and actually, see you guys. El Farolito did a great job, and kind of they have a training pitch that they train at that they're allowing us to get a light session in on Friday afternoon. And then it's kind of, try to figure out, just like I was here in the Columbus coach, getting our guys, I never show up for anything curling. If I have to travel more than 4 hours, we always take a day. Mm-hmm. So, with that travel, we're going to have the rest of that day and the next day to kind of rest, recover, see what they can see a little bit around probably the hotel area, probably not going to do much traveling within the city, and then get to the pitch and see what happens against a really, really good side. Obviously, the side we're going to play this coming Saturday is no joke. They were I think the farthest advancing NPSL team in the US Open Cup, and they got guys with a lot of experience that played a long time, and yeah, we're just looking forward to it. It seems like the last 2 clubs we played are straight class, incredible teams, and it seems like the better the team that we show up to play against, just elevates our game and lets our players, their work shine. So it should be an incredible game.
No doubt. Looking forward to it. Duluth FC and El Farolito in the other national semifinal in the NPSL. Be safe, my friend. Have a week where everyone is healthy before you hop on planes. And I know that you'll be probably watching the stream or something like that and having a local viewing party. Am I wrong?
Well, we're going to have kind of we have a weekend with a bunch of our friends that we go out to a cabin, and it's actually our local. The friends are all soccer people that come to every game, so we will be having a watch party at Lake de Baggeman most likely, and yeah, and it's going to be a bunch of soccer people around, hopefully screaming for good things.
Fantastic. As always, my friend, it's great to see you. It's been a great run by Duluth FC. Be safe, be well, stay as dry as possible, and good luck this weekend. We'll catch up with you on the flip side.
Thank you, John.
All right, that's John Schuster. He's a mogul. He's a mogul in training. Oh, wait. Hang on. Wait. Go. Trophies. There we go. We got trophies. Look at that.
I came walking. I'm like, oh, we got trophies.
So is it going to be like the Stanley Cup? Do you get a day with it, and do you get to do whatever you want with the trophy? Is that how this works?
Yeah, maybe. I think
I woke up on Sunday and it was on my pillow next to me, so it's probably everywhere with me.
I guess John's got him now. I think our North Trophy ended up with our captain for a few days.
Okay.
I got home from traveling, wasn't with him on the thing, and I came into my house and we have some players that live there, and I asked, "Where's my trophy?" And he's like, "The captain has it." I'm like, "Wait a minute, does he own the team?" I'm kidding. That ain't me. See you, boys.
Oh, that's fantastic. All right, be safe, Schusty.
All right, see ya.
All right. So we got trophies. See, this is what happens. Schusty is amazing. I'm just going to say it right now. John Schuster is an amazing human being. He's very cool. And ever since Duluth FC came online in the NPSL, it's been really cool that he has been as open about the process and as willing to be on the show as possible to break everything down when it comes to what he's learning about the sport and what he's learning about being an owner and what he's learning about how to grow the game and these kinds of things. So very, very cool stuff. And the fact that he literally, they won, and I reached out to him and I said, okay, your Tuesday's at 10 Eastern. Is this going to be okay? Instantly emails me back. Yep, we're good. So the fact that John Schuster, multiple medal winner in the five-ring circus, I don't know if I can say the O word without getting into trouble with the IOC, but yeah, the five-ring circus, multiple medal winner, gold medal winner in curling representing the United States of America, owner Duluth FC, and having to piece together a 2,200-mile bus ride in the round of 8 to get to Pennsylvania and get to Pittsburgh for this matchup that they had, that they won. And you heard, and literally in the email that he sent me, he's like, oh my God, you won't believe how we won. And so he sends me all of his notes. And I said, good, tell me all about it Tuesday at 10. And he's like, yep, be there. And so the fact that they had an early morning practice in Duluth this morning, and we're getting ready for the national semifinal, and considering the conversation that we had before, John, with Brett Teach about travel and what it's like for these lower division clubs to try and figure out how they're going to take 18 plus a traveling party. So you're talking probably in the neighborhood of 25 folks on a plane now to Northern California. And by the way, El Farolito, you've got to get their food. They're fantastic owners, but you got to get their food. So 2,200 miles on a bus to get to the round of 8 game in Pennsylvania, win, turn around, come home. Now you're practicing again if you're Duluth FC and getting ready for a trip to Northern California. So you're going like Duluth to Minneapolis, flying from Minneapolis to, I'm guessing, San Francisco. I guess you're flying to SFO, having to organize all of that stuff after a win. And then for Columbus United, who is on the other end of the scale, Columbus United, they got stuck, if you remember Friday morning when we had Brett Teach on the show in the 9 o'clock hour, because I think Brett ended up being like a 9:45 guy. So Brett comes on at 9:45. He's in Hartsfield, Jackson. They're waiting to get on planes. They finally get on planes. They get to Houston. Then they get to Midland, Odessa, and because of the connections that Michael Hitchcock has, gets them to the matchup there against West Texas. They win there. Then they get stuck trying to get home, and then they have to rent vans to get home because, yeah, we'll get you home by Friday. And like, no, that's not going to work. We're kind of a team that's in a playoffs. Fine, just fly us to frickin', Pennsylvania at this point. So how it ends up for Columbus United, vans back, some fly, most vans. And you heard Brett say, for those of you that missed the interview, we'll post it to the app later, that they couldn't drop the vans off at the Columbus, Georgia airport because the Columbus, Georgia airport rental counter doesn't take one-way rentals. So they had to drive past their exit. They had to drive past their hometown to Atlanta, drop everything off, and then find ways back to Columbus. That's what Columbus United had to do to get home, to get ready for the national semifinal on the other side. That's what you're dealing with these days when it comes to travel with these lower division clubs. But thanks to Brett Teach for dropping by. And obviously, Brett's like, no, we're not practicing today. So, Brett Teach, Columbus United, if you're looking for practice in Columbus, they're all probably resting, recovering, sitting in hot baths and cold baths and showers and things, and finding masseuses and trying to use their the muscle guns like CR39 endorses, those kinds of things. That's what Columbus United's doing this morning. Duluth made it home. They were practicing, and they were practicing in the rain. So your national semifinals in the NPSL, right-hand side of the bracket, Columbus United at FC Motown. Left-hand side of the bracket, Duluth FC at El Farolito. Welcome to travel in the NPSL. It needs to be either a book or a documentary or both. So you got that this morning happening. Goodness gracious alive. And sorry I ducked out there for a second. I hit a button, and it was a button that you're not supposed to hit, and that was why I ended up ducking out for a second. It was nothing personal, but I hit a button. That's my fault. All right. Other news of the morning, getting you ready for everything that's been going on. Obviously, when we were discussing what was going on, we kind of sort of was getting into what was going on with Bordeaux, and that turns into the warning shot for the morning, I guess. Emma Hayes is having her press conference, or has had her press conference, and is going on right now. And she's breaking down everything. Keep an eye out for the Soccer for USPOD, and you get to find out what's going on with the men's and women's national teams as everything is going on with them getting ready to chase after medals. In economics down here, Girondins de Bordeaux, and this came out at 5 o'clock this morning, our time. So basically, it was like the 10 a.m. news release that we see here in the East Coast. 5 o'clock this morning. Quote, while discussions had resumed in recent days, Fenway Sports Group representatives indicated yesterday, Monday, July 22, to FC Girondins de Bordeaux and its shareholder their desire not to follow through despite the assurances provided by various stakeholders. Therefore, in the absence of new elements, FC Girondins de Bordeaux withdrew the appeal lodged against the decision of the French football governing body, dated July 9. As a result, they accept the sanction of administrative demotion within the National One Championship for the 24-25 season and will be summoned again to present its budget to the DNCG. The period which is opening should allow Girondins de Bordeaux to come back stronger and at the highest level. Club and its shareholder assure the supporters and all stakeholders of their desire to protect the interests of their club. So, Girondins de Bordeaux waiving the appeal over the decision to economic relegation was what this was. You were relegated last season from Ligue 1 to Ligue 2. And because of the lack of proof that you gave to the governing body that you could handle a season financially in the second division in France, they decided that they were going to economically relegate you to the third division and see if you could handle that. For those that missed the ideas and the process here. So the governing body relegates them because of economic reasons to the third division. Girondins de Bordeaux is like, well, hang on just a second. We've got somebody who wants to talk to us. Governing body's like, okay, cool, you got 2 weeks. So in that 2-week period, Fenway Sports Group kicked the tires, and they're like, nah. So this morning, Girondins de Bordeaux has basically said, yeah, okay, we're pulling our appeal and go ahead and relegate us. Second oldest and sixth most successful club, and a decade of mismanagement, according to Raphael Jacobin, who works for the Guardian, L'Equipe, and GFFN, among others. Yeah, so when Bordeaux is on the cover of L'Equipe, that's what you end up with here. That's what you end up with L'Equipe. You have a situation where one of the longest running franchises, just it ain't there. It ain't there. And it is right now, it is an absolute world of hurt for Bordeaux. Remember, we had also talked about how if the TV deal with Bordeaux did not go through, you would have had 8 franchises in the league that would have been this close to declaring bankruptcy. The TV deal did go through. I've yet to see anything being signed with DAZN, but it's at a 30% decrease from what they were there with the last deal was. So that's what you're staring at involving Girondins de Bordeaux. And I think it's a bit of a warning shot for Ligue 1. Legitimately, I think it is. Keep an eye on it. But like I said, you keep an eye on what's going on with Girondins de Bordeaux and literally the state of play. And we'll see what happens there. But yeah, Bordeaux withdraws their appeal, and they are going down to the 3rd division. Also, overseas, before we get into domestic stuff and we kind of wind our way through here this morning. News from Sky and Rob Harris. And when Rob Harris has a byline, that's not necessarily a good thing. What we're seeing overseas, the Premier League is now joining legal action against FIFA for expanding the international football calendar and what they claim is risking the health of players. European Leagues organization, which England's professional leagues are a part of, announced it would file a complaint to the European Commission with Players Union FIFPro Europe on competition law grounds. They're concerned about the introduction of the 32-club World Cup coming up this season, or this year, next year, 25. After the regular European season and international matches, and this is Rob Harris's copy, and the apparent limited formal consultation by World Football's governing body. Sky revealed in December about the English Players Union threatening legal action over workload concerns with more international matches being added. Professional Football Association is a FIFPro Europe member, the PFA. Joined European leagues to protect football, its ecosystem, and its workforce from FIFA's unilateral decisions, end quote, by complaining to the European Commission. They say, quote, the PFA, the complaint will explain that FIFA's conduct infringes EU competition law and notably constitutes an abuse of dominance. FIFA holds a dual role as both global regulator of football and competition organizer. This creates a conflict of interest, which, consistent with recent case law of the EU courts, requires FIFA to exercise its regulatory functions in a way that's transparent, objective, non-discriminatory, and proportionate. FIFA's conduct in respect of the international match calendar falls well short of these requirements. This complaint that will be formally filed by European leagues, La Liga and FIFPro Europe, will run in parallel to separate actions initiated by individual leagues and player unions at national levels. The English, French, and Italian player unions brought an action with the Brussels Commercial Court in June. European leagues and FIFPro Europe have already informed the European Commission of their decision and look forward to working closely with the Commission, relevant public institutions, and football stakeholders throughout the investigation process, end quote. Harris continues, the congested fixture list leaves players with little space for rest and recovery, with FIFA yet to grant union demands for a mandatory 28-day off-season break. Leagues and players unions claim FIFA, quote, has consistently refused To include national leagues and player unions in its decision-making process, the international match calendar is now beyond saturation and has become unsustainable for national leagues and a risk for the health of players. FIFA has previously offered peace talks with the leagues and unions to attempt to resolve the dispute. The Club World Cup is taking the men's calendar slot used the year before the 02, 06, 10, 14, and 18 World Cups as a test event in the host nation's now defunct 8-country Confederations Cup. Chelsea, Manchester City have qualified. FIFA also expanded the World Cup, remember, from 32 to 48 for 26. FIFA insisted in response that the intentional calendar, which mandates when clubs must release players for national team matches, was unanimously approved by its ruling council featuring officials from Europe. The governing body for World Football claims FIFPro and what it calls league bodies were also consulted. FIFA said in a statement to Sky, some leagues in Europe themselves, competition organizers and regulators, are acting with commercial self-interest, hypocrisy, and without consideration to everyone else in the world. Those leagues apparently prefer a calendar filled with friendlies and summer tours, often involving extensive global travel. By contrast, FIFA must protect the overall interest of world football, including the protection of players everywhere and at all levels of the game, end quote. Today, I feel peacemaker. Sure. All right. So that's news from Rob Harris at Sky. The Premier League is going to be joining the legal action involving FIFA over the packed schedule. FIFPro Europe and European leagues jointly filing a formal complaint to the EU Commission against FIFA regarding the match calendar. So, fun with that this morning. Nothing like a lawsuit with everything else going on. Once again, thanks for dropping by this morning. If you missed it earlier, once again, we caught up with North Carolina Courage. And after their win in the USLW League title, what it's been like for them, we caught up with Coach Billy Davis and MVB, Macy Bader, and Brooklyn Holt. It was great to catch up with them. That'll be rolled over to the app later today. We got to spend some time in the NPSL going back-to-back with Columbus United's Brett Teach, Duluth FC's John Schuster, and coaches and trophies, and found out about travels. Great to catch up with Sean Morgan, by the way, also, who is just kind of hanging out. It's like at the end of practice, everybody's kind of leaving a rainy Duluth practice field. And so what's Sean do? Sean goes inside, grabs some trophies, and shows them on the air. That's what it's all about. So you've got that kind of fun this morning. Once again, remember in MLS, the MLS All-Star game, you have the MLS Next match at 11:30 today. You have the Unified match at 3:30 today, and you've got skills competition tonight. Like I said, we'll try and catch up with Marty Jellamy with the Atlanta United Unified team some here the next couple days, find out about the experience in Columbus, find out about the season so far, what it's been like to see the program continue to grow. Next match for the Unified team is in Los Angeles at the LA Galaxy match next month. And so that's going to be a new frontier and a new adventure for the Atlanta United Unified team. So very, very cool stuff that we're seeing from them as well going forward. So really cool stuff with that. Across the board this morning, there's a lot going on in international circles. Apparently, Arne Slot used 25 players as Liverpool lost to Preston North End. Manchester United's targeting Jared Branthwaite. And we had mentioned yesterday about the fish cakes protest. It's not every day that folks throw fish cakes on the field. But when you're mad at VAR, then I don't know what you're mad at VAR. So we're throwing fish cakes. We're throwing fish cakes at everybody. So teenage stars and a chance for Jack Grealish for the Manchester City tour. Pep Guardiola also says that Kevin De Bruyne is not leaving this summer. He's not leaving this summer. Said that over the air when he was asked about it. So he put that out there into the ether. Kevin De Bruyne is not leaving this summer. when you've got like 9 gazillion folks chasing after him. And especially the league that we neither condone, endorse, nor promote, wanting to bring in De Bruyne, among others, that are a part of all of this. But right now, as things stand, Pep Guardiola is saying that Kevin De Bruyne is not leaving Manchester City. Now, we had mentioned the TV deal. Right now, you're looking at a 30% cut. So 30% cut in TV revenue for what's going on in Ligue 1. So we'll see what happens with all of that. Gossip, rumor, and innuendo, and what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it today. We've also got to go over what happened in the last weekend in Major League Soccer. I forgot about that. Manchester City considering a move for Eberechi Eze. It's got a release clause of $60 million in add-ons. Al Ittihad apparently is the club that has shown an interest in Kevin De Bruyne, which is why Manchester City apparently are trying to kick the tires on Eberechi Eze. City interested in Donnarumma as they look to replace Ederson, who could move to Al Ittihad. Ederson would cost Al Ittihad at least £40 million. Manchester City willing to let him leave as long as their valuation is met. PSG want Jadon Sancho for Manchester United. He appears open to the idea. Also interested in Bruno Fernandes, PSG. Everton preparing an offer to Jared Branthwaite in an improved bid to keep him from going to Manchester United. Villa targeting Atletico Madrid's Joao Felix after agreeing to sell Moussa Diaby to Al Ittihad for $50 million. And that basically would take that $50 million inbound and flip it to Atletico Madrid to try and see if they could bring in Joao Felix. And so Diaby outbound, Felix inbound, the numbers would be a wash. Spurs value Richarlison at £60 million. The Saudi Pro League Al Ahly indicated they're interested. Spurs winger Brian Heel and Sergio Reguilon, both Spanish, been left out of the club's preseason tour of Japan and South Korea so they can explore moves away from the club. Newcastle have held talks with Eddie Howe. We talked about that yesterday, where Eddie Howe late last week was trying to say some things without saying some things. And so he was saying things without saying things. And so now they're having talks. Arsenal are prepared to offer Eddie Nketiah as part of a swap deal with Crystal Palace for Mark Gahey. Marseille have agreed personal terms with Nketiah, confident of completing a deal. Manchester United, West Ham are competing to sign Nusayr Mazraoui from Bayern Munich, who won about £19 million for the 26-year-old. West Ham could pursue a deal for Aaron Wan-Bissaka if Mazraoui moves to Old Trafford. Negotiations between PSG and Napoli over Victor Osimhen have stalled, according to Fabrizio Romano. Besiktas have told former Arsenal, Liverpool, and England midfielder Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain he is no longer a part of their plans. Now, we mentioned yesterday where the standings are in Major League Soccer. Didn't get into the results from the past weekend. We mentioned Atlanta's win over Columbus at 2-1. Miami continues to win. They beat Chicago 2-1. Of course, everybody seems to be beating Chicago these days. Toronto, with a goal by Richie Larea, won Canadian Classique 1-0 over CF Montreal. New England and Dallas, a 1-1 match. Nkosi Tafari credited with an own goal in the 65th, and then Areola scored at 90+5 for your equalizer. Red Bulls over Cincinnati 3-1. And this is what happens when you don't have center backs. Lewis Morgan scored in the 7th minute. Kyle Duncan scored in the 52nd. Morgan got his brace 7 minutes later. Then Corey Baird scored in the 67th to make it 3-1, but it was out of reach. The lineup that was trotted out by Pat Noonan and/or FC Cincinnati in general. Celentano in net. You ended up with basically a 3-4-3 or a 3-4, whatever you want to call it. You ended up with Kip Keller, Ian Murphy, and DeAndre Yedlin as your three at the back. Brett Halsey, Pavel Buka, Obenet Nwobodo, Yuya Kubo. Your four midfielders. and then Dottie Valenzuela, Sergio Santos, and Kevin Kelsey. That's your 3-4-3. So Kip Keller, Ian Murphy, and Yedlin, obviously with support from Buca and Nwobodo. But when you don't have center backs and your bench is Lucho, who's nursing an injury, Corey Baird, Yamil Assad, Isaiah Foster, Malik Pinto, London Agato, and then Aaron Bupenza and Luca Orellano, you're hurting. Your match day manager was Ricardo Paez because of the nutty that Noonan threw the match before in the midweek and got the red card. So Ricardo Paez, Kenny Arena, Dom Kinnear were your managers on the day. But Cincinnati did not. They are center back deficient. Miazga out. Haglund out. Miles, Olympics. That still gets to me. That still makes me scratch my head. You're trying to help walk me through this and see if I've lost my head here. You end up with 2 center backs injured and out for the season. You tell your third center back, Miles Robinson, yeah, it's cool. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you're good. No, yeah, you can go to Paris. It's all good. It's all good. You're good. No worries. So you're center back deficient, and you tell your third center back with depth, yeah, okay, cool, go to Paris. I don't know. But that's what happened. You lose 3-1 to Red Bulls, and now the margin is 5 in the Eastern Conference. Purple team in NYC, they drew at 1 as they were another one of the early starters on the day. Philadelphia shut out Nashville 3-0. Daniel Gazdag with the Hattie. And it was in the 10th and the 39th. He had a brace by halftime. And then one in the 89th minute for just for good measure. Everybody's sitting there wondering where this Philadelphia team was and where this Philadelphia team has been. Nashville, once again, hey, in a match where 2 teams don't want the ball, Philadelphia scored 3 goals on 44% possession. They're cool. Nashville had 20 shots on the day, 19 for Philly, 10 on target compared to 3 for Nashville. Nashville had 20 shots, 3 on target. 8 block shots by Nashville, 6 for Philly. Total passes, 447 to 362. Passing accuracy for Philly, they don't care. 77% compared to 84. 7 corners for Nashville compared to 4. Crosses, 12 for Nashville compared to 7. Duels, the aerial duels won 17 out of 30 by Nashville. XG 3.2 to 1.8. So basically Gazdag, and a triple. 7 saves on the day for Joe Willis compared to 3. 5 clearances on the day, 3 for Nashville. 21 fouls, 12 to Philly. 6 yellows on the day, 3 on each side. And so the question for Jim Curtin, welcome back, Andre Blake. You're running it back. Philly wins it 3-0. I wonder if BJ Callahan is sitting there going, I'm wondering what I've gotten myself into. I'm just saying. I'm wondering if I've gotten myself into something here as he looked at what was going on.
Callahan.
Sir.
Callahan.
Sir.
Yes. So we got that. So Callahan, yee. Okay. And I don't mean that as a yeet from our buddy Jay Uso. No. BJ Callahan, yeah. Okay. Austin and Charlotte drew it 2. That one was an interesting one. Charlotte had a chance. You had Alex Ring scoring in the 11th. John Gallagher scoring with 10 to go. Shvedersky, welcome back, Carl Shvedersky, scoring in the 33rd. Yuri Tavares scoring in the 56th. The young talent for Charlotte that we got to see with Crown Legacy translating to the first team. Tavares scoring in the 56th. Ring and Gallagher scoring in that one for Austin. Kansas City and all caps, 1-1 draw. Sounds about right. Two teams that are struggling, and they are well out of reach in the Western Conference. You draw. That's about fair. Minnesota 2-0 winners over San Jose. If you don't beat San Jose, then you got a problem. You may as well just go ahead and turn in your library card at that point if you don't beat San Jose, at home especially. Colorado and RSL in a shootout, 3-2. Colorado gets goals from Lewis and Sam Vines after being down 1-0. Gomez scores in the 9th. They take a lead 2-1, drawn at 2 with 40 to go, and then Cole Bassett scores in the 88th for Colorado to get points. Jarrett will maintain this, and I can't see anything wrong with it. Considering what has gone on, Stan Kroenke actually spending a little money. By comparison, it's not much. But still spending money in the league, a little bit more than he has, bringing in a guy like Georgi Mihailovic. Should Chris Armas get attention or be in contention for Coach of the Year in Major League Soccer for what he has been doing with this group in Colorado? Kind of left alone to his own devices. You know, you're in Commerce City, which is in the middle of nowhere. Maybe if you're heading to the Denver airport, oh, there's Commerce City, Colorado. Should Chris Armas be getting consideration for Coach of the Year, considering what he's been able to do there in Colorado? Investing, not really investing in line with everybody else, but still a little investing. And right now, you are in the thick of home field advantage in the Western Conference. LAFC thumped Seattle 3-0. We'll catch up with Nico Moreno on Thursday and find out about it. Denny Bouanga, goal in each half. Matty Bogusz in the 26th. Seattle just got thumped. And Seattle's back into the street fight in the Western Conference where you can't really blink. Houston and Vancouver. You finished the night with two absolutely nuts matches, by the way. The late games. Here's how it all laid out. You end up with Fafa Pico, who is having a renaissance in Vancouver. Vanni Sartini's just put him into a system where he's allowed to flourish. Pico scores twice. Veselinovic scores once. These are 3 goals in the second half. After Houston had a 2-0 lead. Kadaskia and Dorsey scored in the first half. And so then Vancouver scores 3. Brad Smith scores in the 78th. Griffin Dorsey scores in the 87th. So let me see if I've got this right. Houston's up 2-0. Then they're down 3-2. Then they come back to win 4-3. 2 goals, 9 minutes apart, Brad Smith and Griffin Dorsey. The Western Conference is going to be just stupid the rest of the year. And then LA and Portland in Carson, California. The Killer Peas. I can't take credit for that. I cannot take credit for that one. That one goes to Keith Costigan. When Keith and Mo, who were calling this match, you end up with Paintsel, Peck, and Puig. So Peck scores in the 38th. It was 1-0 at the break. Ricky Puig scores early in the second half. 2-0. Portland scores to make it 2-1. And then Paintsel scored on a great transition opportunity for LAG. So the Killer Peas each get on the score sheet on the goal side. Santi Moreno scored in the 73rd to make it 3-2. But that was your final. The Killer Peas in order, Peck, Puig, and Paintsel. LAG spends $20 million. And this is all while Dejan Joveljic, the Bishop, is still injured. So you're getting all of this kind of activity from the 3 guys, 2 of them that you brought in at about $10 million each with Peck and Paintsel. You're spending money. You're spending money in the right places. Greg Vanny's got the pedal down, and they won 3-2 over Portland. And so that's where the chaos is right now in the Western Conference. But let's add the goals up. 3, 6, 7, 9, 13, 15, 18, 22, 24, 26. Then you get to the late games. 31, 34, 41, 46. 46 goals on match day. And in the last 4 kicks themselves, you end up with almost half of that. 5, 8, 15, 20. 20 goals in the last 4 matches alone out west. So MLS After Dark really was shining in the midweek. And then you've got like I said, then you have the standings as they were. Miami now 5 points clear. Columbus 5 points behind Cincinnati, but with 2 matches in hand. So Columbus takes care of business there in second. Red Bulls right now at 41 points. Everybody pretty much has 25 or 26 matches in the barn. NYC's part of that second group, 5, 6, and 7. NYC's at 38, Charlotte 37, Orlando 34. And then 8 to the bottom. 8 teams, 7 points, separating Toronto, Atlanta, Philly, Montreal, Nashville, DC, Chicago, New England. In the West, LA has played 26 matches. They're at 49 points. LAFC, because of CONCACAF, have 2 matches in hand. They're at 47. So if they win out, they can take the number 1. RSL, without Chicho Arango, they played 25 matches. They're in third at 44 points. So you're starting to see a little bit of separation where this was 44, 44, and 43. Then we talk about having a good week and things can happen, and a bad week things can happen. And right now, that's where you are. LA 2 points ahead of LAFC, 5 points ahead of RSL. Colorado a part of that second group, and this is why I mentioned Chris Armas and Coach of the Year. Right now, 26 matches played. You're in 4th. If I sat there and told you, okay, so here's the roster. Here's your starting lineup last time out for Colorado in the matchup that they had last time out. We'll go ahead and roll over this. And like I said, Stan Kroenke's letting Colorado spend a little bit of money. Not like a whole lot, but a little. You win a 3-2 shootout at home in Commerce City. Your lineup last time out in that 3-2 win over RSL. Zach Steffen in net. And I know a lot of folks still have questions about Zach Steffen. Your back line. Sam Bynes, Andreas Maxö, Moise Bombito, back from international duty, and Keegan Rosenberry. Keegan Rosenberry flying below the radar this year. 4-2-3-1, whatever you want to call it. Oliver Yaraz and Connor Ronan, the 2 ahead of the back line of 4. Jonathan Lewis, Cole Bassett, Omir Fernandez, who's come on as a rookie and done really well. And then up top, it's Rafael Navarro. Your bench on the day, Michael Edwards, Lalas Abubakar, Darren Yapi, Calvin Harris, Jasper Lufelson, Sebastian Anderson, Ethan Bondre, Wayne Frederick, and Kamani Stewart-Baines. You tell me how many of those dudes you know. How many of those dudes do you know off the top of your head? Steffen, Vines, Bombito, if you follow national team stuff. Rosenberry, so that's 4. Cole Bassett, 5. Maybe half of that roster that started. Lalas Abubakar, 6. So a third of the match day roster last time out against RSL. And with that, Chris Armas is doing what Chris Armas is doing. So that's what you're seeing right now with Chris Armas and with what is going on with Colorado. Should Chris Armas get some kind of recognition, at least be a finalist, be like the Heisman Trophy ceremony, where you get to sit in the front row even though you may not win? You go to the Downtown Athletic Club and you sit there even though you know you're not going to win it. Other stuff going on. Arsenal are hoping to confirm the signing of Calafiori in the next couple of hours. Arsenal have agreed to the deal, $43 million. But we have not seen the signing of the paper. We do not have the still photograph with the smile forward and the pen poised like we had with Caleb Wiley yesterday. We have not had that moment, but we have at least had, some poised, some gossip, rumor, and innuendo to see if that was going to be in fact the case. But Calafiori looks like he's heading to Arsenal for $43 million. What to watch, where to watch it, and how to watch it. Today's a little busier than yesterday. Obviously, with what's going on with Major League Soccer, with 11:30, remember the MLS Next match, and 3:30 is the unified match before skills competition tonight. DAZN USA on March 27th. No, absolutely not. It always defaults to March 27. It's like, no, March is like January. That's 4 months ago. I'm clicking on my grid, and it's like 4 months ago. BN's got the Copa Sudamericana doubleheader. Racing and Huachipato at 6. Internacional Rosario Central is at 8:30. If you do not have any of the BNs, this will also be simulcast on BN en Español. If you don't have any of the other BNs, then what you can do to get the BNs, Nuestra Tele for the fans, TIC, Gold TV, CDO, all of that. Go to Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here, and you can get all of those in one place. Jason got me hooked. I blame him. Helps out the show, helps out the network, helps them out as well with subscriptions. But Copa Sudamericana doubleheader tonight on BN. ESPN2 ahead of, as a part of the Manchester City Tour, Manchester City and Celtics at 7:30. The U20 Men's Championship doubleheader on FS2 tonight. Canada, Dominican Republic at 7, El Salvador and Honduras at 10. We mentioned BN en Español simulcasting the Sudamericana. ESPN Deportes is simulcasting the Club Friendly. 7:30, you'll start the broadcast for Skills Challenge from the Death Star in downtown Columbus, Ohio. Paramount Plus, very, very busy day in general on the Argentine Primera. Starting at 2:30, by the way. Deportivo Riestra and Argentinos Juniors. 5:45, Gimnasia La Plata, San Lorenzo, Newell's, and Independiente Rivadavia. 8 o'clock doubleheader, Independiente, Barraca Central, Rosario Central, and River Plate. So you want to wait for the late one, 8 o'clock, have a multi-screen experience with All-Star Skills Challenge and Rosario Central and River Plate. You could do that. Simulcast and simultaneous multi-screen experience for everything there. And you can watch all of that stuff that's going to be around with the activity in the Argentine Primera. Skills Challenge rosters, by the way, for tonight. Brunetta, Jonah dos Santos, Gignac, I guess was allowed over the border. Juan Brunetta, Jonah dos Santos, Gignac, who really is must-watch television. Andres Guardado from León, Cesar Huerta, Malagón, the keeper from Club America. He'll stay in the country, probably just leave Columbus and head straight to Atlanta. Don't know if he'll play in the matchup against Chelsea. Maxi Mesa from Monterrey, Kevin Mir from Cruz Azul, as well as Piovi from Cruz Azul. Solomon Rondon, Luis Hernandez as your Liga MX great, and Alicia Cervantes from Guadalajara. In addition to 10 players, Houston Dash, Diana Ordonez, Alicia Cervantes, and Sasha Kleshton and Luis Hernandez are also going to be competing in the competition. For MLS, Lucho Acosta, Jordi Alba, Bernardeschi, Busquets, Berkey, Evander, Cucho, Luna, Martin Peiss, Ricky Puig, and Kleshton and Diana Ordonez are the two that are going to be on the MLS side of things. Goalie Wars comes back. We'll have that tonight. And it is Jean Antoine from Chattanooga FC, Michael Collodi from North Texas, Stas Lapkus from Crew 2, and Chituro Udunze, who we got to see and hear firsthand with Crown Legacy going up against Atlanta United 2 on the weekend. And those 4 are returning to try and get the championship belt. And it is, once again, 3 90-second rounds. Goalie wars for me is one of the fun things, other than the massively large targets that they roll out onto the turf, and you try to play skee ball with it. Keepers defend their own nets, trying to score on their opponent. Throw, kick, drop, kick, back and forth for 90 seconds. And so Goalie Wars returns, and so that'll be a part of what we see tonight starting at 7:30. And it is a shooting challenge, touch challenge, cross and volley, passing challenge, and crossbar. 2 of those are sponsored by the phone company, 1 sponsored by a toothpaste, 1 sponsored by an antiperspirant, deodorant, men's cologne, and the other by, I believe, a razor. MLS and Liga MX competing on behalf of Adaptive Sports Connection and Special Olympics Ohio, resulting in $25,000 donations to the respective charities. So very, very cool stuff there. Once again, remember, bottom of the hour, it is MLS Next All-Star. 3:30 is the unified match. And it is 7:30 tonight for MLS All-Star and what to watch and how to watch it and all of that stuff. So plenty going on today as we get ready for everything going on in the European theater and everything going on as they get ready for their seasons, because 30 days has September, April, June, and November, all the rest of 31. So we're a little over 3 weeks away from the beginning of the Premier League season. And remember, we've got some action in Atlanta as a part of preseason friendlies. Chelsea and Club America, that is on that's tomorrow, actually. So that's no, it's next. It's next a week from tomorrow, 31st. If I can get everything squared away. And then Leagues Cup is the Friday coming up at Mercedes-Benz Stadium with DC United starting things off before you get into the Santos Laguna match, and that is on the 4th. And remember, this weekend we will be in Huntsville. We will be in Huntsville for the Twos and Huntsville City Football Club. 8 o'clock local kick. Pre-game 7:30 here on the network, and I think all of us are going. So we'll be there in a bunch of different capacities for the Twos in Huntsville. It'll be on the network at soccerdownhere.mixler.com, and that'll be all of the fun that we get to see with Atlanta United 2 in person, going back to Joe Davis. We were up there for Blast-Off Battle earlier this year, and it'll be great to catch up with friends and see what's going on there. Tomorrow, once again, Tyler Pilgrim joining us at 9:15. We'll see if Dylan Butler can join us at 10 o'clock. And see what's going on through his prism on MLS All-Star Day with what's going on at the All-Star break. Thursday, once again, trying to catch up with our friends from the USL show. Kaylor Hodges apparently has had the real world intervene, so we'll see if we can get somebody else from the USL show to join us at 9:30 before Nino and Nico will drop by at 10 and 10:30. And then Asheville City is going to be joining us Friday at 10, Beyond Goals Friday morning at 9:30. So we'll be bouncing around all over the place with all of this stuff. Abby is back. Missed most of the show. Crazy day. Ordered the Abstermobile. But it probably won't be what you will probably be not what I end up with what's been ordered. So then you've got that. And the 4th, yes, tailgating on the 4th. Leagues Cup tailgating on the 4th of August. And so that is a 4 p.m. kick, by the way. 4 p.m. kick for Leagues Cup at Mercedes-Benz. So everybody gets to be there early and find out what's going on. But tailgating on the 4th for the second group stage match to find out if Atlanta United gets out of group, gets into knockouts when it comes to Leagues Cup. And obviously we'll be following that as we go all week long. And, Nino and Nico actually just kind of turned into an accident. It's been a happy accident on Thursdays, but we're going to get Nino's perspective on Libertadores, Sudamericana, anything else on his mind in the world of soccer and international competitions. Oh, by the way, Abby ordered it in December. Still not here. 7 months, price is rising. But you're getting, but you should, when you ordered it, that price should be locked in. Abby ordered it in December. The Abstermobile 2.0 still not here. Prices continue to rise. You're getting priced out. That price should be locked in from when you ordered it. This is my price, and this is what I'm paying. You want my money or not? Legitimately. But yeah, Nino and Nico turned into a happy Thursday accident. Love having the two of them on together. Speaking of pursuits, there are some reports. Like I said, this is what they are. They are reports. Hamas wanted out of his deal at Sao Paulo. And they're like, fine, cool, we'll see you later. There is talk, and like I said, check your sources, check your sources, check your sources, that Hamas and Messi and friends might be pairing up. They might be pairing up. So keep an eye on that. Word on Ivan Toney. Brentford would prefer to sell him this summer from our friends at The Athletic rather than see him leave for a free next year, valued at more than $50 million. So we keep an eye on that. All Caps have added Simon Bashir on loan, the former Billiken and former first-round super draft pick. He's now on loan. So Simon Bashir has now been added to the mix there in St. Louis for All Caps. Also on the board, we mentioned a couple of other things. Quick note out of USL Championship, San Antonio FC and Sportsveta in Darmstadt. So San Antonio FC and Darmstadt are going to have a partnership going forward. Sean Tosh has signed a new Lou City contract to stay in Louisville for a while. West Bromwich Albion has been fined and warned for 2 breaches of FA Rule E21. Fined £30,000 and warned for misconduct, E21.1 and E21.2, which occurred during the 4th round tie against Wolves back in January. So 6 months ago. Okay, cool. And this had to do with unsavory scenes linked to the full FA statement. The sporting director for West Brom is not a fan of everything that happened. Misconduct in relation to crowd control at the FA Cup match against Wolves 6 months ago. Club admitted that they failed to ensure their spectators and or supporters conducted themselves in an orderly fashion, did not behave in an improper, offensive, violent, threatening, abusive, indecent, insulting, or provocative way. Club also admitted they failed to ensure their spectators and or supporters refrained from throwing missiles or other potentially harmful or dangerous objects on the pitch. Regulatory Commission imposed the sanctions following a hearing, and its written reasons are seen in an additional pop-up. But yeah, basically lack of crowd control and making sure that fans behaved in an FA Cup tie. So West Brom and Wolves 6 months ago, finally you get a decision. West Brom got fined $30,000, 30,000 pounds, and they got a finger wag for their fan behavior against Wolves. So you got that this morning coming from the FA. Abby says, welcome to the world of car shopping, and Toyota doesn't officially lock it in until it's on its way to the dealership. But that's lame. Increased prices every quarter, almost to your 3rd increase. But yeah, and all of the Caleb memory posts, yeah, from the academy to now, very, very cool stuff. And by the way, don't think for a second that we weren't listening to Caleb's messaging. And when Caleb said this,
at 16, the fraction was my proving ground.
Don't think for a second that we didn't stick with that. And don't think for a second that if he gets loaned to Bordeaux that we aren't probably going to try and find a way there and send some fraction gear to Caleb while he's there in Bordeaux. I'm seriously considering a road trip to Bordeaux to catch up with Caleb in January, because that's when we can take a breath to do it. But yeah, we're looking at trying to figure out what to do where Caleb is concerned. We got to send him. We got to send him some gear. We really do. We do have to send Caleb some gear. Just saying. You're looking at all of that stuff. But yeah, when Caleb said that, we were like, yeah, that's going to get caught as a drop. Once again, tomorrow morning, we'll catch up with you in a little less than 22. Tyler's going to join us at 9:15. Hopefully Dylan Butler can join us at 10 o'clock. We'll roll through everything else and get you ready for MLS All-Star. Remember, bottom of the hour, MLS Next All-Star Game, MLSsoccer.com, and then what we'll end up with there is Tyler at 9:15, Dylan Butler hopefully at 10 o'clock. We'll get you through MLS All-Star. But remember, bottom of the hour, it is MLS Next All-Star at MLSsoccer.com. 3:30 is the unified match. I hope that's streamed someplace. It better be. But like I said, we're going to try to catch up with Marty Jellamy and find out what's going on with the Atlanta United Unified team and find out about the experience here at All-Star. So we'll be back at it with a little less than 22 and find out what's going on. And Abby says, you might have been instrumental in letting on saying fraction. Mom loved the action at the fraction shirts. Yes. Okay. ATLUTD.com for Unified. Thank you for the heads up. So we'll be back at it again for another go-round of SDH here at 9:05 tomorrow morning. Thanks again to everybody from Courage. Thanks to Brett Teach, who gave his team off today in Columbus as they get ready for FC Motown. Thanks to John Schuster, who stayed dry and let us see the trophies that Duluth FC is winning, and the Blue Greens are doing really well. So it's great to catch up with them, great to catch up with you, and we'll be back at it again tomorrow at 9:05. So it's time for me to put up a billboard and whistle us to a close. Thanks for dropping by. And where's my billboard? My billboard is right here.